Hello, everybody. I think I'm probably live. Welcome to Planet FPL Game Week 6 Deadline Stream Live. My name is James. As per usual, you can't set shit up on YouTube anymore. So allow me to talk you through what I've done with my team this week while I share links for the stream on good old Twitter and to my patrons. So I've made one free transfer, which I made last night. I've sold Chris Wood for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Decided time was right. Be honest with you, I don't particularly think that Calvert-Lewin will outscore Chris Wood this weekend. I think the loss of Richarlison is quite a big deal to Everton, but obviously it looks like James Rodriguez is now going to be available. However, he's going to go up in price tonight. I like the fixtures that are coming up for Everton. Newcastle, Man United, Fulham, Leeds, Burnley. I feel like this was my last chance to grab a little bit of value on him and keep him safe in my team. He's a great option. He's going to continue scoring goals. So very happy to have him into my team. The rest of my team you can obviously see in the top right hand corner of the graphics at the moment. That's my lineup confirmed for the game week. Trent, Robbo, they ain't going nowhere, mate. I don't care about that rubbish. James Drury, I see your comment. I'll get to you in a minute, pal. I've gone Luke Ayling at centre-half. The reason for going Ayling over Kyle Walker-Peters, quite simple. To be honest, I think Walker-Peters is a better option, but I'm going for all-in strategy. So Ayling plays, bearing in mind I would have Walker-Peters going up against Calvert-Lewin. I think it's a close call. I probably prefer Walker-Peters, but I'm going with Ayling on that basis. Ryan in goal, obviously. Midfield 4 of Son, Bale. I'm not even confident that Bale will start, but it wasn't worth removing him from -4 in my opinion. Pereira, Foden, Calvert-Lewin, Jimenez, and Harry Kane is my captain. My top 10 captain choices for the game week. You will see bottom right hand corner of the graphics. Those are my preferences in order. I think it is an extremely close call between Salah and Kane this week. If I had both, I would just go for Salah. Not a lot in it, but I would just go for Salah. My man on the graphics, FPL Captain, you can give him a follow. His Twitter handle is at the top there. This will be far more fast-paced than my Ask James stream earlier today. So let's get into the questions. John Bailey says, "Hi James, all the best for the week. I've got KDB and James Rodriguez. Would you start them both?" Well, James looks like he's going to start now, mate, so that's not an issue. KDB is not money you can leave on the bench. Absolutely. Jeremy Khalud, "Good luck, James. Who would you bench, Mitchell or Kyle Walker-Peters?" Well, in my case, it would have been Kyle Walker-Peters. I think Mitchell against Fulham, we should give it a go. There's 5 teams which many of us have identified that are going to struggle in attack. Fulham and Palace are 2 of them at the moment. So I think you play Mitchell. If Van Aanholt comes in for him, fair play. You've got Kyle Walker-Peters as a lovely little backup for you there. So I think you'd probably start Mitchell. My man, FPL Captain, is in. Says, "Good evening. Hello, pal. Hope you're well." Jonathan says, "So gutted getting James Rodriguez out. Ouch." There's James Drury, the Iceman from FPL Surgery. He says, "Trent, captain. For those who missed my earlier stream, Mr. Drury was sliding my DMs saying, "Trent, now is the time." Trent Alexander-Arnold is not even in my top 10 this week. I would not consider captaining with Adrian in goal. It's as simple as that, basically. But if you want to do it, Iceman, as a bit of a differential, I don't hate it. Trent is my vice. The simple reason for going Trent vice rather than Heung-min Son is obviously to have captain and vice captain from different games. Just a sensible policy at the moment. So Trent, to be honest, is probably my third best option after Harry, Sonny and Trent. I'd rather captain Trent than Calvert-Lewin or Jimenez, put it that way. Neil Mopé is the one you'll see on there. He's the real kind of differential shout, 10th on the list. Good fixture for Brighton, playing West Brom Monday. Expect him to do quite well, actually. Patrick Lawson Zen says, "Good evening." Border Gem says, "Kilman stay as starter? Question. Man to match both his games. 4.1 million. Great asset. I consider selling TAA for Kilman. Gets lots of funds." It definitely does. This is not the week. As despite what I've just said, this is not the week to sell Trent or Robertson. It can't be. It really, really can't be. And you're going to walk into the West Ham fixture this time next week, and we think Alisson might be back as well. So they're staying for me. I'm really not bothered. Unless Liverpool as a football team, the Villa game for me is just an anomaly at the moment. Unless they show dramatic falling off a clip, offensive numbers, and eye test, then they're staying. I just don't care. I think Alisson is a bigger loss to Liverpool than Van Dijk. I think Alisson coming back is going to be a big deal for them. Lewis C says, hi James, would you play Cole Walker-Peters, James or Justin in defence? From that, I'd probably go Cole Walker-Peters, probably. Yeah, I'd go with that. Edwin Guan, Podence and Ings / Jimenez out for Barkley and Kane from -4. Such a good fixture for Jimenez and Podence this week if they both start. Danny Ings, any game, any time. If Harry's going to be your captain, then I think, yeah, Edwin. If he's not, I probably wouldn't. And I'd probably make one to get me on the way there. To get me moving in the right direction. How are you in a position where you're upgrading Podence to Barkley and Kane instead of Ings Jimenez? You must have a lot of money in the bank. Interesting. I'm not sure I'd force it for the -4 unless you're making Harry captain. Harry Redmond says start Podence or Souček. Podence is going to be a problem every week, isn't it? He was beginning to look great Monday night and then they took him off. And the fixture, you got to take the chance on Podence, haven't you, I think. Carl Bennett says evening all. William Jones, hi James, hope you're okay mate, always good pal. Would you do Jimenez and Reece James to Kane and Ayling for a -4? Nah, similar sort of answer, isn't it? So, to be honest, I'd go Reece James to Struijk at the moment as the 4.0 and then have the money sitting ready to go for next. That would be my thoughts at the moment. But again, if it's to make Harry captain, then yeah, by all means do it. James Conroy, got some Villa envy ahead of tonight. Would you use a free transfer to move either Trossard or Pulisic to Grealish? Presumably you just got Pulisic. The way he's played in the 2 games, basically off the right, is very concerning. Hopefully Ziyech will come back in and it looks better. The thing is, once you ride through this week, Chelsea's next 3 are Burnley, Sheffield United and Newcastle. He scored a hat-trick at Burnley last season. I think you'll already be regretting moving him on and thinking next week, oh, I potentially want that again. So, no, I've got no Villa. I've got no particular envy or problem with missing out on them tonight. I'm definitely going to get some. There's no doubt about it, but I'm not in a drastic hurry personally. Trossard, great fixture Monday night, so not for me, James. Phil Plum says, hi James, hope you're well, mate. Suja stopped talking to himself. what a man. Lookman in for Pereira or roll the transfer. That would have been my alternative transfer this week, is Lookman in for Pereira. So if it's for free, I don't hate that at all, to be honest. Again, Pereira got Fulham next week, but then Lookman's against West Brom. So Lookman, it's probably looking like a short-term, potentially a really good 2-week punt. If he scores tomorrow, he'll fly. He'll be really popular, Lookman. I've spoken him up. Mark Southerns was speaking him up in Black Box. Community will notice he scored 2 games in a row and he's 5.0. He'll fly. He'll get some backing when they've got West Brom next. So don't hate that as a move. Whereas obviously if Pereira returns Monday, I don't think you're going to see great investment for him, even though they're playing Fulham next, unless he was to go off mad. So don't hate that as a move if it's for free, Phil. Rebel FPL says, hi James, great to be with all of you again. Cole Bennett, son or Salakovic? It's your Ming son, mate. I heard Salakovic is out at the start of Champ Man FPL Season 2. Anyway, Edwin Guan, big up FPL captain. Justin Dice says, afternoon James, good luck this weekend. You on the drink this week with any more Werner shouts? It was a decent shout, Timo Werner, wasn't it? See, I wasn't completely talking out my arse. I actually, for a change, had a first choice captaincy do very, very well for a change. So, yeah, maybe I do know what I'm talking about very, very occasionally. I mean, I'm not going mad this week, am I, with Salah and Kane as the best 2 choices. I mean, to say different would be wrong. You're looking for a differential. To be honest, if you've got either and you're not captaining, you need to be asking yourself why, I think, a little bit at the moment. So, Salah or Kane, there's every chance of effective ownership, and both of them are going to be over 100%. I think it's going to be massive for both of them. In terms of drink, Justin, I haven't had a drink since August the 12th, I think. August the 8th or 12th. Whenever the last Champman FPL stream was, that was the last time I had a beer, genuinely. Tim Lum said, yesterday lost my job and I've had to start self-isolating because the housemate has COVID. Fucking hell, Tim. So we'll be enjoying the content of football this weekend from home. Tim, as ever, mate, you know where my DMs are, buddy. Good luck to you, mate. FPO telling Josh, afternoon James, took your advice on Diane playing. We'll take Justin or Taylor off the bench, avoiding a hit this week. More pay in for Vasiliev. Good luck for this week, mate. Good luck to you too. On Dyer, as I said on my stream this morning, Jose Mourinho didn't get asked last night on Eric Dyer's fitness. I've seen no updates this afternoon, although I will be honest, I haven't looked in the last couple of hours. I'm not expecting anything. So we're going in blind. My guess would be that Dyer probably doesn't play, but it would be little more than a guess. Rebel FPL, what fixtures do you think Son Bell might be better captaincy options than Kane for that extra midfield point? After game week 8 at the moment, I think, to be very honest with you, I think next two are even after Burnley, it just screams Harry Kane, doesn't it? So afterwards maybe, yeah, in terms of countering more against, say, a Man City, but you're not going to captain Heung-min Son against Man City, are you? So at the moment, no. But Son's value, you don't have to be captaining him anyway. He's a brilliant asset. Kev KG, do you think Lo Celso will play this weekend? My expectation would be sub again, Kev. I think Ndombele will play in that withdrawn 10 role. Patrick Lawson, how would you rank the following 4.5 million defenders on wildcard? Masuaku, Ayling, Dallas, Target. Dallas and Ayling, you just toss a coin, but they'd probably be third on that because Struijk, in my opinion, is the better short-term option. I would say Masuaku first. Ironically, yeah, really tough two for West Ham, but then some interest in having him for Fulham and Sheffield United. Target, decent. I would prefer to play a little bit extra for Konsa, so for me, Masuaku, Target, toss the coin between Alan Dallas, but go Struijk. FPL Badger, if you took a hit for Kane, would you still edge towards captain Salah, or would your outlook be different? I think that decision mark, it comes in the process of trying to determine whether to make the transfer. Once you've made the transfer, you almost should forget what you've done previously. For example, I got Son in really early before game week 5, expecting to captain De Bruyne. News comes out that he's not playing. I've got to forget I've already made that 1 free transfer. What would have then been a -4 ended up having to cost me -8. Sometimes you have to forget what's gone. Now, if you want to captain Salah over Kane, that would be my preferential choice. I'm not saying that to get Kane in on a hit, you'd have to justify it by captain. Not at all. There are certain situations there where I think it would warrant doing it. We're selling people like Jimenez has got a great fixture this week. Is there really the gain immediately? Jimenez got Palace next week as well. Leicester the week after. Southampton the week after that. It's not bad, is it? I know the issue with Jimenez. You never think he's going to go big. But he can score 1 in all of them, and that'll do. If he scores 1 in all of them, he probably outscores Harry Kane. Harry Redmond says, in Norwegian fantasy football, there's something called a quintuple captain. Just thought you might like to know that I'm quintuple captaining that guy tonight. Nee, you're not, Harry. Good effort, though. Yansky, hey, James, play Mitchell against Fulham or Chilwell, or maybe Justin. Hell. You shouldn't be leaving out a player like Chilwell, but yeah, I mean, play Chilwell, sod it. Jack Wilson did say James would play earlier. Brett M, hi James. Maybe I did, but that's this morning. I'm allowed to change my mind. Brett M, hi James, hope you're well. Would you start Mitchell or Kilman? Already playing Saiss would be double. Yeah, go to double walls, mate. Get it done. Perlo's Pen says, hello James. Jimenez, Havertz, Kane, Barkley, -4. Same thing as already covered, buddy. Antonino says, hello again, James. Great to see you so optimistic about Spurs. Really hope the best for them. Do you think Mendy will provide good value at Chelsea soon enough? 5 million for a top 6 goalkeeper could be gold. Could. We don't say the same things about Bernd Leno, though, do we? And I would probably trust Arsenal defensively a bit more than Chelsea at the moment, although I concede Arsenal have a rougher run of fixtures. But yeah, we never talk about Leno like that, do we? So, nah, not for me, really. Zaris, my favourite, how are you, mate? Says, I can't wait to see your laugh when I'm telling you greetings from Greece. Mitchell or Justin for starting 11? Mitchell, my friend. Daniel Lambert, hi James. Would it be worth taking out Reece James for another defender like Dallas? Or would it be better saving the transfer for 2 next week? Genuinely, if you've got no other fires and Reece James is your biggest problem, I would consider firing him out right now for Struijk or Kilman and reassess him next week. Rishi Patel says, have Rodriguez, my 3 bench players of Burke, Mitchell, Dunn. Would you replace one of these in case Rodriguez doesn't play? What order would you put these on the bench to? Order would be Dunn's not going to play. So it'd be Mitchell, Burke, Dunn. You'd be unfortunate I mean, you could easily get no minutes out of him. But I think Hammers going to play now, Rishi, to be honest. But then this will always be a continual risk for you with a bench like that. So it might not be an issue this week, but it could be next week or the week after. So consider, if you've got a free transfer, again, look at Dunn to Kilman or Struijk. Struijk, is going to play for the next few weeks. Genuinely, you could well get a few pips of value out of him, honestly. Cole Bennett, well, if we believe what Bielsa's saying, which we've no reason not to. Cole Bennett, Harry, I hope that goes down for you. Downstairs, evening James, superb content this week, much appreciated. Ditch Rodriguez, ouch. Question, why do you prefer Salah over Kane for armband? Also, which one would you start from? Cole Walker Peters, Justin Taylor. McCarthy's my goalkeeper. Ugh, it's still Walker Peters is the best choice, mate. Why Salah over Kane? Ridiculously close. Just genuinely ridiculously close. I even think that Tottenham might outscore Liverpool this weekend. It's just, I think it's the backstory knowing of Salah's capability in home games at Anfield against so-called bottom 6 or 8 teams. That's it. That really is it. So that would be why Salah. But it's so close. If someone says to me, I prefer Kane to Salah, great. It's definitely so close. I wouldn't advise any. If someone said Son or Salah or Son or Kane, there's not options this week, to be honest. I could have scrapped the other 8 and just put them top 2, in my opinion. So it's so close. Genuinely so close. I think if you've got one, the advice would be, yeah, look, that should probably be your captain. If you've got both, you're in a very good position. I'd probably go Salah. The other slight thing on Salah is Salah's effective ownership will definitely be over 100%. Harry Kane's might not. That's the other thing. So look, if you don't captain the guy and he's over effective ownership, in theory, if they return, you're probably losing rank. So that's another good reason. If you've got Salah and Kane, Salah's effective ownership, I believe, will be over 100%. Harry Kane's might not. You're winning either way then. Kieran Fell, evening James. Hope you're well. All good, mate. Harry Redknapp says tactical prediction of Man United versus Chelsea. I think United will play a similar system to what they played against PSG. We've seen them play that against quality opposition in the Premier League in the last 18 months or so under Solskjaer as well. I think there's a chance Pogba still substitute, for example. I wouldn't be surprised if the team's quite similar. Rashford will play through the middle. I think Fernandes withdrawn behind and probably another front man is how they'll likely set up. I think if Chelsea use the energy of Mason Mount, I really think it'd be really important in this game because he's got so much energy with his pressing and stuff. I think Chelsea go there and win. The irony of if Chelsea went there and got beat and Lampard didn't play Mason Mount this weekend would be hilarious, in my opinion. Jack Wilson, start Reece James risking the 1 point or start Dallas. Jack, you're going to have this problem every week, mate. Every single week. And next week it's going to be even worse when they've got Burnley. And the week after when they've got Sheffield United. Is that what we're holding on for? On this occasion, probably start Dallas. Because how big could Reece James go away to Manchester United? Unlikely. I don't particularly expect Dallas to go big tonight either. So you can toss a coin. It probably won't make much difference, mate. You'll probably both get a 1 pointer. Lamici says, hi James, good luck this week. Would you start Mitchell v Fulham or Souček v City? That's a tougher one. I'll be tempted by Souček, actually. In terms of City defending the aerial ball. I would maybe go Souček. Karan Yadif, morning all. James, I have a dilemma. I want to remove Barnes, I presume Harvey. 12 million in the bank. Looking to wildcard late, so long-term pick. Ideas? Sadio Mane, mate. Why not? Why not Sadio Mane? If you can afford the best, get the best. That's the answer. Peter Randall, hi James, start Souček, Brewster or Charlie Taylor at Souček. Rebel FPL, bench Harvitz, Barnes, Foden or DCL. See, yeah, get a different solution, mate. Harvey Barnes. Praise says Salah or Kane for captain. Bottom right hand corner on the screen, and presumably you've heard me discuss it anyway. All the gems, I agree very much, but the funds attempts as Liverpool fan that is, I like to be ahead for once. Patrick Lawson says on wildcard, which would you prefer? Robbo, Saiz and 2 4.5 million defenders? Or Joe Gomez, don't need to read it, option A. Joe Finley Badder, done your gaffer team, James. Just seen your 40th. Yes, I have done my gaffer team. Made a transfer, all done, locked in. Double Reading defensive. I've just sold one of your boys, Joe, and Gakia. He's out. I'm doing very well in that, actually. Ian Walsh, 2 million in the bank. Double Paul defence and Kane. Use 1 free transfer to go Bruno to Salah. -4 TAA to Konsa, Havertz to Salah, or just roll it and Captain Kane. I don't want to read it out again, mate, so just roll it and Captain Kane. Frank Tegerty, Aguero a better captain choice than Kane. Look, Aguero is not fully fit. They're going to protect him. He's probably going to get hooked after an hour. Can he do the damage in that period? Yes, of course he can. He's Sergio bloody Aguero. Is he fully fit? No. Is he a better choice in principle than Salah or Kane? No, of course he's not. Genuinely he's not. It's a differential punt this week. This time next week, if he's got another hour, a bit more Champions League football under his belt, maybe it's a different conversation this time next week. But right now it's not. Can Aguero outscore them? Of course he can. Chris Wood could outscore both of them this weekend, but you wouldn't stick the armband on him, honestly. Mohammed says, hi James, you previously spoke about your wildcard free hit strategy. Can you elaborate more on that? It's not the best time for it, but briefly. My plan is wildcard game week 16, free hit 18, bench boost 19. That's part of the plan. A lot of that's going to be very dependent on will I get the fixtures in time. So it might be that I'm wildcarding game week 16 and have to rework to a different strategy, and I'll deal with that there and then. It might be that it just becomes a free hit on one of those 2 game weeks, and therefore I'm saving the bench boost for something else. That's a possibility. Not ideal, but that might be the way it lands. Ian Walsh says, best of luck all. Edwin Gran, I've got that KDB money, man. I can splash the cash on Kane and Barkley, then splash it, mate. Another Hoops, good evening, mate. Good luck to you and everyone else this week. RDM Tricks, hi James. John McGinn looking a great cheap midfield option for Villa at 5.5 with fixtures coming up. Yep, we've listed 6 players for Villa and he is definitely an option. 4 assists, second highest assist scorer so far this season. I suspect that won't last though, personally. Pushkar says, I know it's not right, but I'm ending up buying Aguero instead of Kane. Please talk me out of it, James. You've already made your decision. I'm not going to talk you out of it, mate. Although what I just said might well do. Ripwick1998 says, Rodriguez and Werner out for Aguero and Foden after this week. You might feel different after this week, mate, so don't worry about it at the moment. C. Marshall, would you do Podence to Grealish on a hit? Podence looks good, but limited game time for a hit. Probably not, actually. Dan Stairs, I did Brewster and Rodriguez out for Kane and Lookman, by the way. Cheers, Dan. Antonio Gitto, who do you think is the favourite for the Europa League? Some big teams in it. Arsenal, Spurs, AC Milan, Napoli, Leicester. To be honest, it depends who comes out the Champions League, but Tottenham will be right up there. I don't know what the odds are, but I'd be surprised if Tottenham aren't favourites currently with the bookies. William Jones, sorry if this is a silly question, James, but do you happen to know if Kane will rise tonight? As long as he rises Monday, mate, I don't give a fuck, William. Yes, I haven't looked, but I suspect he will do. Yeah, I would have thought so. Jevy says, you hear anything about if Brewster will start? I don't pick the team, mate. Does it matter if he does or he doesn't? You're looking at 1 pointer or 2 pointer. You might still be looking at 1 pointer. I don't think he will, would be my instinct. Benny Blanca, evening James, which bad option to start? Reece James, James Justin or Charlie Taylor? I'm going to presume you got no Arsenal coverage. I'm going to presume you have got some Tottenham coverage. I'm going to presume you don't have Manchester United coverage, therefore Reece James. Nicky Kassam, do you already like Vinicius more than Soldado and Janssen? No, I wouldn't say that. Because trust me, the first time I saw Soldado, I thought, wow, we got a player here. He can finish. So, no, I wouldn't say that. I expect he can do a lot better than what I saw last night, actually. But lovely link up. Got a lovely left foot on him. He's quicker than I thought he would be, which is good to see. I'm not quitting quick. He's just, what I'm saying is, he's not just a slow target man. He can move. Nicky Sam, that's a question I've just done. Rebel FPL. Okay, here's the only reason why I wouldn't captain Salah or Kane. Sterling. Talk me out of it. If you prefer Raheem Sterling to Mohamed Salah or Harry Kane, I'm not going to talk you out of it, mate. Ben Sloan, Grealish and Mane or Salah and Barkley. Me personally, I would prefer Grealish and Mane. Nathan says on wildcard, worth taking a 0.1 profit on Mitchell and bringing in Strick. I think, yeah, probably, mate. Yeah. Mud says, should I hold on to Mateus Pereira or sell him and get Barkley, McGinn, Lookman? Please answer. Thanks. I will answer. Thanks. Yeah, I'd move him on. I think you got a simple free transfer, Pereira to Barkley. Sounds good, really, doesn't it? I like the Lookman shout. If Lookman puts you in a better position for your next move, then I really don't mind Lookman as a shout. But Pereira to Barkley, if it's a free transfer, makes complete sense. Kartik says triple captain Rashford MBE. We give Rashford triple captain bench boost and the free hit to hit the fucking government with. I think what a legend he is, mate. He is doing incredible things. Brilliant. Ryan Stubbs, thank you so much. Think you should get an alias like Late Riser James. So much James in the chats, whether it's yourself, Reese, or Rodriguez. The thing is, Late Riser's a world-class FPL manager, and I'm not. So I don't deserve the right to have an alias, mate. Alden says, good afternoon, James. Know which defender to start question from me today. Going to trust my gut feeling this time around. Starting Lamptey and Mitchell. Castagni is bench 2, Aliens bench 3. Good luck. Good luck to you too. Tom Johnson. Hi, James. What order would you put this bench fodder? Kilman, Ward, Souček. I tell you what, all bloody good options this week. Souček, Kilman, Ward. But they're all really good options this week. Bevan says, hi there, I need to downgrade TAA. You don't. To get to Salah. Okay, maybe you do. In your opinion, what are the best 5.5 million or below defender options? Joel Matip, if he's fit. Genuinely, I'd go to Struijk or Kilman and then reassess. Honestly, if I was downgrading right now, the first place that goes to Struijk. Bank the money and reassess when I've got more information. Bevan Rosario says, hi there, I need to downgrade TAA to, that's the one I just did. Notorious Nerd, who to bench, Dallas or Chilwell or Lamptey? Definitely play Lamptey this week. It's a never-ending problem with Chilwell. I answer it so much. Sometimes I say yes and sometimes I say no. I can't make my mind up. You should play Chilwell. Chilwell should play. Jonas says, dear mighty James, thanks. Ayling versus Villa. Walker Peters versus Everton. Heard Villa are vulnerable, same side as Ayling is playing. For those who joined late, I would prefer to play Walker Peters. My choice of playing Ayling, and this should potentially be important for all your teams. The reason I'm playing Ayling over Walker Peters is I would have Walker Peters versus Calvert-Lewin. I don't have any Villa coverage, so I'm swinging all in. If Leeds keep a clean sheet tonight, bang, I'm double hitting on the fact I ain't got no Villa. So I'm going Ayling. It's an all-in strategy. It's a strategy I prefer when there's close calls. But generally speaking, if I hadn't bought Calvert-Lewin, I would start Walker Peters. So that's why I've made that decision. So for you, Jonas, it depends what you've got on your team, but Walker Peters, I would prefer to play. Davion Cuff, thoughts on Rodrigo versus Hernandez, Leeds. I'm not big on either. I know FPL Tactician, our Leeds correspondent, I retweeted his tweet earlier. He thinks Rodrigo will probably play up front and Bamford might get dropped tonight. That's his instinct. It's just a prediction. It's not anything he knows. He's not ITK. It's just his prediction. So, I mean, that would make Rodrigo more appealing if he plays higher up. But at the moment, neither of them would be on my radar. Christopher Guinness. Hi, James. Do you still think the Liverpool wing-backs can hit 200 points this year? Excuse me. Yes. Yeah, I really do. Michael Lee. Hi, James. Who to bench this game week? Ayling, Dallas, Joel Ward or Souček? Man, some benching headaches this week, isn't there? Souček, Joel Ward, then the Leeds boys. It's all fucking going off here. Ray Qureshi. Hey, James. Should I keep KDB or get in Sterling? Really unsure with the KDB news. You knew he was out last week, but now he might be back. You might sell him? You're keeping KDB, Ray. Mahesh says, keep Rashford against Chelsea's defence or get Son in. Scored twice in that fixture last year. Potentially playing OOP at the moment. Generally, I'd keep Marcus Rashford. I said this time last week or last Saturday morning, I thought Rashford was a great captain differential. I don't hate that this week. If you're sitting there with no Salah or Kane and you got Marcus Rashford in your team, I don't hate that as a captaincy option. Zari says, do you think I should start Rodriguez? Of course you should, mate. I'm afraid that he can play as a sub. And what do you think about Aguero for next week? I will sell Ings. Thank you, Greek God. I'm not Greek, and I'm not a god. Getting Aguero next week, I prefer that to this week. You got another game of information tomorrow. In fact, another 2 games because Champions League as well, potentially. You've got to start James Rodriguez if you've got him. Don't fear it. Listen, in any ordinary week, you could start him and he gets booked and it's a 1-pointer. Don't fear it. What's the possibility of him? Start him, my friend. Joey TCB. Hello, James. Would you bench Souček or Bissouma this week? I'm torn. I would bench Bissouma. I would always choose Souček or Bissouma, irrespective of fixture. Would be my personal preference. Eric Solly, got Pulisic, don't have James Rodriguez. Should I make it a swap? No. Stay. Chill. Praise says, evening James, bring in Kilman for Mitchell and take a hit, or stick with Mitchell. Don't make that move for a hit, mate. Don't make that move for a hit. Leave it a week. Devani Miller says, James, start Saka or Justin. Saka, take the chance that he plays. He's such a good little player, Bukayo Saka, to be fair. Yeah, start him. He's another one who falls into that line. Every week is going to be a problem. Does he start? Doesn't start. Badman's asking me, I think a UFC question, I wouldn't have a clue, but I know Khabib he's a fighter, isn't he? If that's the guy. Isn't he the fellow who knocked out McGregor? Him, if that's what even the question is. Eric Solly, since DCL is left out of top 10 captain list, what makes him versus Southampton a less good option? I should have updated it because I'm working on the assumption that Hammers wouldn't play. I just think the other guys are all better options this week. Like, generally, would you captain Dominic Calvert-Lewin over any of them 10? Even Morpay playing against West Brom this week. Would you honestly captain him over any of the other players on that list? I don't think you do. I just don't think you do. I don't think Calvert-Lewin's ever going to be a player that we consider regularly think, oh, I want to captain him. In game week 9, it might be a very serious conversation, particularly with Tottenham and Manchester City playing each other. But Liverpool play Brighton and Manchester United play West Brom. So there's still going to be better options as well. Calvert-Lewin's not a player you're going to captain regularly, unless it begins to turn into, like it was at periods like with Danny Ings last year, where there was certain periods where it felt like the premium mids weren't really hitting it off, and when Ings had a good fixture, you could captain him. Until we get to that point, I don't see that. If you want to captain him, crack on, go for it. It just wouldn't be of interest to me at the moment. I ain't got Raul Jimenez on this list. Home to Newcastle. Athel says, would you take a -4 to swap Werner for Kane? Yeah, that I probably would, actually. But bear in mind, this time next week, Chelsea's next 3. Burnley, Sheffield United, Newcastle. But I think, yeah, if that gives you any form of Kane captaincy in the next 3 game weeks, even if it's not till that game week 8 game at West Brom, then I think yes. Marcus Wyatt, Saka or Souček, who to start? Tougher one. I'd probably go Souček, you know. Bob, do you think Patrick Van Aanholt start? I'm not convinced as much as other people, actually. I don't know. I couldn't call it more than a 50-50. I certainly wouldn't be buying him. Shano83, hi James, looking to get Dyer out. Would you go Lamptey or Mings or Target? I would go Lamptey if you haven't got Matt Ryan, personally. I'd prefer Konsa over the other 2 Villa options. But I'm going to guess as part of the question, Shano, you might already have Ezri Konsa. So Lamptey. Bevan Rosario says, will Ceballos and Rodriguez start? See, guys, you know when you ask these questions, will they start? I don't pick the team, guys. I hate to break it to you. Ceballos is obviously a doubt. I've not seen Arteta's update this afternoon in terms of he's available or not. I presume he's still a doubt. James Rodriguez, I would now at this stage I'd be surprised if he didn't start, particularly with Richarlison suspended. Jack Charlton, great name. Pulisic out for Salah from -4. Cheers, James, you legend. Yeah, I think so. Again, that probably means you're going to put the armband on him, right? So, yeah, I'd do it, mate. David O'Regan, who to buy? Morpay or Watkins? Thanks. My preference would still be Morpay. Got Burnley to come in game week 8 as well. It's a good sustained run, although admittedly so it is for Villa as well from around about game week 9. Actually, oddly, when Brighton and Villa play each other. I just prefer Morpay at the moment. And I think that's possibly influenced by the fact I haven't got too much interest in Brighton's midfield assets, but I know that Grealish and Barkley are very much on my radar, so it's possibly a little bit influenced by that as well, in fairness. DUXC241, I captain Salah, congratulations. George Nibbs, hi James, KDB, Podence and Zuma out for Salah, captain Barkley and Kilman from -8. Oddly enough, I don't mind that actually. I took a -8 last week, and I promise you, it's very unlikely I'll take another one this season. The last time I took a -8 must have been years ago. It's not something I do often. TJ Dara, hey James, good luck this week, loving the content, thanks very much, pal. Kieran W is responding to someone, James, hello, play 2 from Lewis, Justin, Walker-Peters. Walker-Peters, definitely, I think, unfortunately, even though you probably have got the heads ahead with Calvert-Lewin. Lewis, I think, on the off chance that Wolves have one of their days where they don't look like they're going to score. And Mivu, hi James, long-term listener, keep the good work. Just one question: have KDB? Shall I take him out for Sterling for a hit? No, I don't. We haven't kept KDB till this week. If you have, just to remove him this week, really, when now he's got a chance of playing. I really don't see that. Anthony Chung, McCarthy, Podence and Jimenez to Marshall, Rodriguez and Kane from -8. That's big. I tell you what, that's one, Anthony, where you will like that. Once you make that move, you'll be a lot happier with your team, I think. So I don't hate it. If you've got the cojones to pull the trigger on that, I don't actually hate that one so much. Drunk Funk, hi James, checking in live for the first time. Love the show. Already swapped Rodriguez out for Zaha. Fingers crossed. Good luck, mate. Nikki Kassam saying thanks. TJ Dahl was listening to the FPL podcast this week, and there was a mention of captaining Emi Martinez this week. Do you think there will ever be a week non-Sky where you would consider it realistically? No. 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 Whose idea was that? DM me afterwards. Don't grass them up in here, but tell me who suggested that. William Jones, I know it doesn't... I bet he saves a penalty now. William Jones, I know it doesn't matter as much, James, but is this an okay bench order? Ayling, Mitchell, Brewster. Yeah, you're fine, mate. Patrick Lawson's laughing at someone calling me mighty. Ab Kasim, Dallas or Mitchell? I need context, my friend. Start, bench, buy. What does it mean? Mitchell. T-Tac, play Souček or Dallas? I'd go Souček. I don't fancy Leeds for a clean sheet tonight, to be honest. Even though I'm playing Ayling. I know, but it's the all-in strategy. It's the all-in strategy believing that I might be wrong. TAA versus Robertson. I've got a solution for that. Freeman. Both. Personal preference still be TAA. I know the heat maps, that he's playing like a winger, all them things. I'd still genuinely at this moment prefer TAA. FPL Chancellor, this is correspondent news. Stephen Toomey has triple captain Salah. Go on, Stephen. That's 6th goal, my Watford correspondent. Wish him well. DM him, Dan, or message him and say, James wishes good luck. But I can't message him at the moment. Chris Calloway, do you think Sterling is being criminally underrated as a captain this week? Think could be a haul incoming. Criminally? No. Could he be? Yeah, of course. Have you got Salah or Kane in your team? Now, if you prefer Salah... There isn't right or wrongs in this game. There are things you probably shouldn't do. And if you've got Salah or Kane this week and you're not captaining them, I think you need to ask why they're there. Because even when you add Sterling into the mix, have you watched West Ham lately? They're all right, mate. Naeem Stevens, hi James. Bench Antonio Warm. They can't win at West Ham 4-5-0 every year, honestly. Hi James. Bench Antonio or Morpay. Team set up, so have to bench one of them. Can't bench Morpay at home to West Brom. You shouldn't be benching Antonio in any game anyway, really. Check again on that midfield, mate. But if you have to bench one or two, Antonio. Richard Benson, any reason to keep Reece James or get rid? The reason to keep Reece James is when he plays, he could be an absolutely brilliant asset. That's the problem. That's why I don't want to go and buy none of them Chelsea fullbacks, because I know it's going to be a problem that I then have as well. So, look, if Reece James, think of it like this. Reece James went 1 point, 1 point, 15 points. Is that worth it? Well, of course it is. It's 17 points over 3 game weeks. But then you need a massive haul, right, in between the 1-pointers. So, for me, it's a no. It's a no while Azpilicueta is available. It's a no. Sebastian, he's a brilliant price as well. That's such a shame. Sebastian Ribolla, who would you use of Lamptey, Saish, Trent and Chilwell? Which 3 are the chosen ones? It seems quite straightforward, that really. Never leave Trent out. And listen, when Liverpool play at Manchester City in game week 8, I will tell you now that I will pick Trent and Robertson. I don't care. Trent will play. Saish, you have to pick with Trent. I don't think you can leave Lamptey out home to West Brom either. So by default, unfortunately, a little bit of a tougher call. It's probably Chilwell to leave out. But check again on them budget midfield options in terms of what you're leaving out. Remember, Chilwell potentially on quite a few corners and stuff as well. It's not easy. What's the time? 10 past 6, guys. So just to make you aware, about 20 minutes away from deadline. Obviously, at this point, it doesn't look like there's too many questions in, but you're running a risk at this stage that I might not get to your questions. So apologies in advance if I don't. Blaine Ryan, Grealish and Kane for Rodriguez and Werner. Or Grealish and Maupay for Rodriguez and Werner. What are we talking about? Are we talking -4 here, Blaine? Grealish and Kane. Why do you want to sell James? Do you want to sell James because of the injury worry and because it helps force in Harry Kane? Is there a different option? Rodriguez and Werner could both do very well this week. And the concern with Werner to Kane is an obvious transfer if you can make it happen. However, like I said, them next 3 fixtures for Chelsea after this week, you know, if you're sitting there with a double at the moment like a Werner or an Pulisic or Havertz, you're going to get to this time next week, you're going to feel very strong about your team. So do give it a second thought. But if he's going to make Harry captain for you, I would make the deal probably happen. Nathan says, on wildcard, would you feel confident enough with both Kilman and Struijk? Yeah, I would, yeah. Or would you replace one of the two for a safer long-term 4.5 million option? And if you would replace one with 4.5, which 4.5? The way I would see it is like this. I did a little video for my advanced tier patrons about 5 hours ago, and I said if I was on wildcard, I'd go both. And the thinking would be, because of what Kilman has done in the 2 games, he will go up in price even if he loses his position in the team. I'm telling you honestly. In the same way Dunn did at Burnley. Honestly, people will keep buying him even if he gets left out. You've got no concerns. You're going to get a little something there. And Struijk, you're likely to get to 4.2 before you even blink. 1 clean sheet and people know, oh, he's playing regularly for Leeds. You know, I've got Crystal Palace in game week 8, for example. You might want to start him. So I would go to 2. Your other 3 have got to be obviously absolute locks. And I would take the basis on it that if Kilman comes out the team and if or when Struijk comes out the team, there'll be enough 4.5 million guys now who will drop to the same value, and then you can sidestep if you need to a 4.2, 4.3. Those guys who you can't see now will be there by the time you need to change it. Gary McDowell, play Podence or Click? Probably got to go Podence, mate. Potential of what could be. Click will get 3 penalties now, I've said that. Azra says, should I transfer in Kane for Ings? Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. Villa, Newcastle, Wolves, Man United after for Danny Ings. Fixtures don't matter too much. They're not bad, but they're not great. Brighton, Sheffield United afterwards, nice for Danny Ings. Then Arsenal, Man City. Then you're coming in towards Christmas period. It was a really tough call for me to sell Ings rather than Jimenez last week. As it turned out, I was a point better off keeping hold of Raul Jimenez, ironically, over bonus magnet Danny Ings. That was based very short term, knowing I'm probably going to sell Jimenez as well. Danny Ings will never be far from my thoughts, but I think, yeah, you should probably make that happen. T-Tac, who's Fulham playing? They're home to Crystal Palace. All the fixtures going across the ticker at the bottom of the screen. And what channels they're on, including which fucking box office channel, if you want to get your £14.95 out. Daniel Lambert, hi James, got a keeper dilemma, Martinez or Meslier? It's not a dilemma, Daniel, you know the answer to that. Karan Yadev, play Martinez, mate. Karan Yadev, hello again, James, need to take Pereira out for a long-term pick. Options? What money you got, mate? Sideways to Barkley could be good. Can you get up to Grealish? Do you need to come down to a Lookman to think about the extra 1 million that will move you forward for a next move? Only you can answer that, I think, mate. Jeff Priestman says, hi, James. Play Souček or Jorginho this week. Ted at Rotation FPL, my Chelsea correspondent, thinks he'll come out the team at any point, Jorginho. I actually think this would be a good week for them to bring him out because of what I said about United getting done over against Energy in central midfield areas. So Souček for me, mate. Rishi, the answer to your question is bottom right hand corner on the screen. We'll see my preference. Harryman 7, bench James Rodriguez or Harvey Barnes? I would bench Harvey Barnes. But what kind of shit forwards are you picking? Probably Harvey Barnes. I'm just not big on Leicester at the moment. I'm sorry, I'm not. Ishmael says Reece James to Semedo for a -4. So I can bench Antonio and Mitchell. Why do you want to bench Antonio? Antonio can score in big games, pal. No. Cyrus Barnett, I took out James and Trent for Son and Walker. Cuddle me and tell me it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Keegan Abrahams, Kane, Salah or Son for captain. You don't need to put it in capital letters, my friend, or tag me in. You could just look at the screen, mate. Yassine says, Ryan or Martinez? Question. More difficult one. I'd think about moving Ryan to Jed Steer probably, although Tom Heaton will be fit soon, so potentially be Villa's backup. I think you've got to go Ryan, haven't you? Really? With that fixture this week? But the problem is now you're in a position where Martinez's ownership's starting to get fairly significant. But Ryan's ownership's still significant as well, although I suspect a lot of that may be from some dead team. On the fixtures, you should pick Ryan, really. Edwin Guan, will it still be worth getting Kane next game week for 2 weeks? Yeah, but it'd be worth more to get him in now for 3 weeks, mate. Ishmael, you don't need to ask questions twice, my friend. Atul says, how much would you be willing to pay for a chat moderator? $14.95. I don't spend money. I can't afford money. All my money goes on Spurs and my boy. Thomas says, hi James, hello mate, hope you're well. The loyal one. Bro, is Rodriguez playing? Bro, I'm not Carlo Ancelotti. My instinct is he will play. As he says, what combo do you like better? Maupay and Grealish or Watkins and Trossard? Maupay and Grealish or Watkins and Trossard? It's a quite straightforward one for me. Actually, would be Maupay and Grealish. Abu Linux says, I left out James Rodriguez for all. Thoughts? Who's all? Who's all, mate? You should not be leaving James Rodriguez out. David Coles, hey James, hope you're well. How many minutes do you envisage Bell getting on Monday night? I'm not convinced he'll even start, honestly. But I didn't think it was worth removing him from -4 and knowing there's still good stuff to come after. Plus, he could do stuff in 30 minutes at Burnley. The other really interesting aspect of Bale for this game week is Burnley do allow shots at goal from distance. And he's one of the best in the world at it. And he won't think twice if he's coming inside and he can see the post. I would expect him to play an hour, 70 minutes or 30 minutes. I don't think he plays more than that unless Spurs are in a really bad position and can't afford to take him off. I think even if we were level with 20 minutes to go, I think it would probably come off. If we were losing, it might be a different conversation and he might actually leave him through the middle and play him, drop Kane into the 10 position in a 4-2-3-1 and play Bale up front. He would maybe even do that just to keep him on the pitch. But otherwise, no, I don't see him playing the 90. Could well be half hour, honestly. I would put his chances at starting at 65 to 70%, no better than that. So it definitely would not be a recommendation to buy Gareth Bale. Atul Goyal says, hi, shall I go Jimenez and Foden and Reece James to Kane, Grealish and Kilman with a -8 hit? Don't hate it. Think it's okay. You'll probably like looking at Grealish and Kane in your team until Grealish flops tonight, probably. No, it's okay. I kind of want to move Foden on as well. Jimenez is one I want to move on. You'll be beating me to the punch. Foden's got 2 decent fixtures. Jimenez got 2 decent fixtures. Reece James, if he never win his place back, has got decent fixtures afterwards. Is there another way? If you've got Salah in your team at all, I probably wouldn't do it. William Jones, I know I've asked this question already, James. Don't ask it again then, mate, but you're very torn. You have the exact money to do Jimenez to Kane for a -4, with Kane likely to rise tonight. Shall I make it now or tonight for free? Thing is, Suj, I don't know if he did buy Harry Kane, but he was thinking of buying him today. And he was cursing the fact that he didn't buy him earlier in the week because he'd missed the rise. Because Kane obviously could have played last night. And I said to Suj, I said, no, you've done right. I said, to be honest, I thought Kane could well play last night. It was only the game was so easy that he obviously wasn't involved. As it stands, he probably wouldn't be involved in the game in Belgium on Thursday. Do you really want to bring a guy in who you know has had, let's be honest, injury issues before he plays a game of football? If you've been thinking about it this long, William, I suspect you're not going to do it. And I don't mean to do that reverse psychology on you to make you feel you need to do it. Harry Kane, one game, does he outscore Raul Jimenez by more than 4 points without a captaincy? I don't know the answer to that. You probably need 2 returns from Kane. Jimenez, he's unlikely to get more than one. We know that. But Jimenez 1 could be an 8-9 pointer, right? So Harry Kane, you probably need 12-13 pointer to feel safe. Do you believe that? If you're sticking the armband on him, it becomes more attractive. Also, does it enable you to... Are you definitely going to have Kane captain, say, in game week 7 or in game week 8? I suspect game week 8, if he's fit, Harry Kane is going to be monster captained away to West Brom, I should imagine. Particularly if Aubameyang doesn't pick up form between now and then, and if Villa keep performing well, because Man City and Liverpool obviously play each other, and Everton play Manchester United. So Kane's going to be monster owned that game week. Chelsea were home to Sheffield United, so you might have a few Werners and Pulisic and Havertz and that, but Kane stands out, right? I don't know the answer, William. How do you feel? Work out what you predict points wise and work from there. The thing is with Harry Kane, because of what I've just said about that West Brom game, his value is going to keep going. He's the highest scorer in the game, and whatever he does this week, he's probably still going to be the highest scoring player in the game at the end of this game week. His price is going to keep going up. It doesn't mean you're going to be behind everyone necessarily. Lost my point now. God, I went on there. You got a proper answer because then he was so in doubt, William, and asked it before. Patrick Lawson, restructured question. 10 minutes to deadline, guys. Robbo Sayis, 2.5 million defenders and Mitchell, or there's a lot going on here, Pat. Robbo Chilwell, 4.5 Strick and Mitchell. I need to work out all these possibilities. So we're saying Chilwell or Sayis and Strick and Mitchell. What is this for? Is it a wild card, mate? I'd go Strick and Kilman, honestly, personally. I'd make that move. Sayis over Chilwell. I'd have no problem going to double Wolves, personally. Yeah, it toughens up for him in a few weeks, but don't worry about it too much. It's Wolves. You can worry about that when it comes round. Lamichi says, hi James, if KDB starts Sunday, I presume it would be tomorrow, is it worth transferring James out for him for Sky? You got the money to go Reece James to KDB? Or do you mean James Rodriguez, mate? I need clarity. But no, it's not. It's not. If you've... I don't believe that anybody in Sky should be making a transfer this week unless it's to replace someone that is definitely injured, i.e. Virgil van Dijk. I don't think anybody else should be making a Sky transfer. KDB come off after an hour, mate. 55 minutes, do nothing, play deep in a 4-2-3-1. Admittedly, you get the benefit of the team, but I presume that move would be James Rodriguez to KDB. No. KDB's playing Saturday, James playing Sunday. There's no gain in fixture or anything, mate. So, no. KDB for me is planned in. It's the following week, Jimenez to KDB, where there's a clear gain in the fixtures. Or Eric Clue, so we start players in my team based on class over fixtures. Yeah, it's a fair philosophy. I don't hate that at all, mate. Thomas says, Havertz to Rashford for -4. Don't see that. You'll want Havertz in your team come next week. Nathan says, Klein much for a threat for Ward at right back. Do we think a clear backup only? I think clear backup only at the moment, Nathan. Sebastian says, thanks a lot. I was also thinking of benching Chilwell. Dennis says, Mitchell or Dallas? Listen, mate, capital letters make me want to ignore the questions. Play Mitchell. Anthony Chung, which one would you start on first on the bench? Aylin, Justin, Taylor. Shit, innit? The order you've written them down in is the order I'd pick them in. Abu says Raul Jimenez, although he's put Raul Jimenez, Timo Werner and Che Adams front three. Question. What's the question, mate? It seems fine, if that's what you want. Chris Callaway, with all the talent in the Premier League at the moment, who are the top 3 players that would be best FPL assets if they played regularly? For me, Saka, Reece James and Greenwood. How about Salah, Kevin De Bruyne and Harry Kane? I know what you're saying in the question. Yeah, Reece James would be brilliant if you could trust it, genuinely. Mason Greenwood, maybe. He's out of form at the moment. There's obviously some stuff going on behind the scene, which takes him out of the options. Saka as well. They're all very, very decent shouts. There'd be plenty of guys in the chat at the moment who've got the problem with Podence at the moment. Chris Tellez says, evening James, who should I captain this week? He's piss taker. Totally can't see the picks in the bottom right. Wishing you luck. Wish you too, buddy. Good luck. Discounted MasterCards. Have you got one, mate? Says, as a Spurs fan, I am telling you, Bale will not stop. Discounted MasterCards. As a Spurs fan, I'm telling you that I don't know. Abu says, I went with Martinez from Aston for goalkeeper. Thoughts? Yeah, terrific. Marcus says, should I sell Bamford and bring in Watkins, judging from the good fixtures coming up from Villa? Yeah, I don't mind that move at all, actually. I think that's fairly decent. Don't mind that at all. Hans-Petter Thorstensen, Captain Grealish. Go on then, do it. Jack Charlton says, graphics are on point. Yes, that's my man, FPL Captain. You can give him a follow on Twitter. His handle is in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Abu, you got a lot of questions, my friend. Ings or Che Adams, who is the most valuable? I still think it's worth paying the extra for Danny Ings, personally. Or that Che Adams is a decent option. Jake S, sell, click, or hold. I mean, what does that mean, mate? What you selling him for? 4.4 million Mohamed El Neni. What you selling for, mate? I need some context. X, what's your overall? Abysmal. I'm about 3.8 million at the moment, I think. Chris Woods, hi James, please give a shout out to my newly born son, Wilbur Jack Woods, born 28th of September 2020. Same week Spurs beat Chelsea in the Cup and Man United in the league. He's not to blame for West Ham. Chris, much love. Wilbur Jack Woods, shout out my man, happy birthday. I expect to see you kicking a ball this time next week. Navishka, hey James, should I start Martinez or Ryan? Preference would be Ryan, I covered that already. Oni, listen man, look at the screen my friend. Darren Chow, Podence out for Grealish, that seems fairly sensible. Narcy says 10.5 million for 2 defenders. Can't get Trent or Robertson with that, can I? Strick and Kilman and use the other 2.5 million somewhere else. I'm not a big fan of the premium options below Trent and Robertson, to be honest. Diaz might be decent. Kyle Walker might be decent. There's always a might with Manchester City. Aymeric Laporte might be decent. I think I'd rather come down cheaper, at the moment. Genuinely, I wouldn't spend the whole money. That's genuinely the best advice I'd give you. Sreejev says City front three will be Foden, Sterling, Aguero. But I'll be guessing the same way as you. Exit. That doesn't mean I know that Mahrez won't start. I have to clarify for people in here, don't I? If you owned Reece James, would you take him out for a hit? Probably not for a hit, no. Discounted Mastercards. Kane will bag a hat-trick. 1E. It's a mate. Act like a Spurs fan, please. X says, keep or take a hit, sell Reece James. I just answered that, buddy. Abu says, Reece James or Ben Chilwell is a tough one to call. Yeah, it is. I pick Chilwell out of 2 if you've got both. I mean, why you be sitting there with both is anyone's guess. I make it 3 minutes to deadline, guys. Get yourselves locked in. Chris Woods saying, P.S. Souček or Bissouma. I'd play Souček, Chris. Reece Smith, is Ross Barkley more attacking than John McGinn? Yes. Drunk Funk, who to captain? Look at the screen. FBL Hitman, hi James, good luck. Thank you. Edward Addy, son a good captain. Yeah, but not as good as Salah, Mane or Kane in my opinion. Martin Matthew, hi. Should I start Ryan or Martinez? Ryan. Craig Fleming, I've captained Salah and have Ings Jimenez but got money in the bank. Would you take a 4-point hit to get Kane in for Ings Jimenez? No. Richmond Pitts, I have Chilwell on the bench. I'm concerned about Chelsea's defence. I've got Dean, Conser and Kilman starting. What do you think? Please, as you are, stick. Elias says, who do I bench, Rodriguez or Foden? Neither. Find a different solution. Martin Matthew, hi, yeah, done that one, pal. Drunk Funk, who would you play? Castagna versus Jorginho? Probably Jorginho on the default that you might get a pen. Thomas says, hi James, Havertz to Rashford -4. Done that one? No, I wouldn't. Daniel Jarman, Kane or Salah captain? Guess what, Daniel? Look at the screen. Ignacio Cresswell, brilliant. Thanks for your impact. Elias, who do I bench, Rodriguez or Foden? Done that, mate. Find a different solution. Luz says, sure to Robertson for a -4. Mate, take a -8 for that transfer. William Jones, cheers James, I think I may do it and give him the armband. Could be burned big time. Fingers crossed. Good luck this game week, mate, and keep up the good content as always. Thank you. Ahmed, Souček over Bissouma, mate. Blackjack, I sold James. I have plans to bring him and KDB back. Brilliant. And Viru, should I play KDB? Souček Taylor, just be got to play KDB, mate. Stop worrying about what might be with a 1-pointer and start thinking about what it could be with him if he plays. Faris, Salah, captain on the screen, mate. James, McCarthy to Martinez or Justin to Conser. 1 free transfer. Justin to Conser. Praise said double Wolves defence or double Palace defence. Oh, double Palace defence. You'd be through your fucking eyes every week and sod that. Nikesh says, how likely is Kilman to start? I've got as much idea as you, mate. I'd put it at 65%. Victor says, sell Salah, get Benteke. Yeah, lock it in. -4 it, mate. C. Marshall. Mari's out for a minus. 90 minutes last weekend and midweek. Don't second guess Pep, mate. Ian Walsh, top stream, mate. Cheers. Nikesh, start Kilman or Lookman this week, my FPL team. If you got Lookman, you got to play him, I think. And yeah, go for it. Play the attacking player. Mission, Fit, McGinn or Neto or Click. What to pick one in the team? Probably Neto this week. Mushia says, hey James, just joined, so you may have answered this before. What is your opinion on having a playing bench now? Important. As proven by people panicking over James Rodriguez. Khalid, what is your team value? Can I be honest with you, Khalid? I don't know, mate. 100.8, something like that. Like, it's no big deal, mate. Sedzia says, people sleeping on Bruno Fernandes for captaincy. Sleep on it, mate. Novishka, hey James, all the best for this game week. Thanks for the quality content. Really appreciate it. Much love from Sri Lanka. Sending love back. I believe it is 6:30 p.m, guys. Get your teams locked. They better be locked by this stage, let's be honest. There's only a few questions left, but I will hang around for 10 minutes or so, guys. If you've got any non-FPL questions, anything a bit different to finish the stream with, by all means, ask it, and I'm happy to get it covered briefly. But I will cover the questions that were in. Not that it's going to help you now. Rashid says, Vardy to Kane should have pulled the trigger for -4. My advice on that would have been yes. Victor says, Pulisic or Havertz. I would still prefer Pulisic personally, but I do want to see him back on the left. Divani says, James, shout out my Twitter. If I shout out Devagus, is that going to mean anything to anyone? What's the point of me shouting it out when everyone can read it in the chat, mate? Greg Jacobs, do you feel bad for Danny Rose at all? Great question. Yes, I do. Danny's a complicated character, but he's given everything for Tottenham. It's really sad. I'm very uncomfortable when I hear people say, I'll get him out of the club and stuff like that. He's never been one of the top earners. He's played through injuries a lot, particularly over the last couple of years. He was absolutely outstanding before his knee injury in January 2017, the year we finished second to Chelsea. And genuinely, if he'd stayed fit, he would have won Tottenham's Player of the Year ahead of Harry Kane. That's how good he was before the injury. So I remember seeing this young headless chicken develop into one of the country's best left back. And at that time, before the injury, he genuinely was probably the best left back in the country. So the decline's quite hurtful. I'm very conscious that he's been very honest about mental health problems and stuff like that. And I hope that while he's getting a paid contract from Tottenham, that Tottenham are offering the support mentally that he may need. Is he good enough to play for Tottenham now? No. I think it's probably clear from the fact that he went to Newcastle on loan and Newcastle chose not to buy him. I think tells you a lot. It's quite sad. He's outspoken, but he means well. To be honest, I'm quite uncomfortable with the whole thing with Danny Rose. I wish him well. I really, really do. I don't want to hear something that's going to be one of them in a year or two where it's like he's sitting there and he's really depressed and he really needs help. And it's like, oh, we didn't take notice at the time. So, genuinely, I've never reached out to a footballer on Twitter. If Danny Rose was on social media, I'd consider doing it. Not that I'd expect to hear back, but I would want to know that he's in a good place. I don't feel any animosity to the fact he's sitting there on what's obviously now decent wages and he can't play. It's not his fault that he's not been selected. Mesut Ozil's different. He's on 350 grand a week. And Mesut Ozil clearly, by his social media tweets, is in an absolutely fine place mentally. Good question. Didn't like it. Put me on the spot a bit, but I like that. Richard Benson saying thanks. Mission Fit says thank you. El Padrino locked in green arrows for all. Good luck. Shano83 game is updating. Good luck all. Stephen Martin Jones. Aguero, why no talk? I feel like I have talked about him. No? Rewind. FPL Sponge. How are you enjoying working full time on FPL? Ever get sick of football? sometimes we have little bits where I feel, oh Jesus, are we going to repeat ourselves here? Wednesday we did a pod for patrons, which was meant to be about the negatives about Project Big Picture, and then this whole European Super League thing started, and we didn't really go into the detail of the specifics of why, and I don't think we needed to really, because there's been so much about it in the mainstream, and to be honest, it just became a rant about me. Suj said on his stream yesterday, he said, I'd shut up and let James speak, and I edited it, and he didn't speak for 8 minutes. It's just me speaking for 8 minutes. I think it was 8 minutes. He might have said yeah now and again, but otherwise it was me speaking for about 8 minutes. And I just went around into like football's fucking dying on its arse from a fan's perspective. And I was quite down after that podcast, and I'm not normally, but there's so much from a fan perspective. The fact we can't go, COVID, pay-per-view bollocks, European Super League, the fuck, man. So much shit at the moment. It's really depressing as a fan off of the football pitch. And obviously the concern of the lower league pyramid and financial status of many of these clubs. It's all dirty at the moment. And to be honest, it was dirty before COVID. It's just coming to light even more now. So it was afterwards like that. I was glad that we didn't have another recording on Wednesday afterwards, because I didn't want to record again after that. But generally speaking, no, I'm loving it. I'm blessed, right? You know, Such is paying me to talk about football. I'm lucky as hell, and I'm not silly. But that's only coming in while we keep getting the great support of patrons, right? Without the patrons, I haven't got a job anymore. There wouldn't be another job for me to go back to. So, yes, patrons, I still need your support. If you're thinking of joining Planet FPL Patron, don't do it now. Genuinely, I won't bullshit you. Don't do it now. Wait till November 1st. Get a bit more value for your buck and do it at the start of the month rather than the end of the month. Or if you want to support now, join in on the £3 tier and then go up to the £8 tier if you want to next month or something. But yeah, don't be putting like silly money into the Patreon now when you'll get charged again next week as well. Please don't do that. FPL Sponge, that was the question just answered. Jonathan Boland, hi James, thanks for the content. Just one question: if you were a soup, what flavour would you be? Brilliant question. I'm not a soup connoisseur, I must say. If I wanted to eat meat, I'm do you know what? I'm a plain fucking bog standard tomato soup kind of guy. I don't know why I've got something in my head telling me I'd be a chicken soup. I don't know, maybe. FPL Hitman, what did you give Suj for his birthday? Baked goods or a YouTube stream tutorial? I gave him a card that said fuck off. No, not really. The first card he ever gave me, we used to at work, you get everyone in the work office writes in the card, right? And the first one I ever got while I worked there literally said, all it said in there was fuck off Tottenham. From Suj, that's all it said. He didn't even write his name or anything. He just wrote fuck off Tottenham. So yeah, no, I didn't get him anything. I still have to get him the 50 quid I owe him for beating me in FPL last year, which I keep every time we do one of the main podcasts. I want to do it in the main podcast so most people hear it or see it on YouTube, and I keep forgetting every time. So somebody remind me on Tuesday morning, a DM me, say, James, give Suj his 50 quid. Hopefully we're still, touch wood, allowed to still do it in the office together, but it's probably looking a bit bleak from that perspective, unfortunately. Wesley Thomas, Greenwood, Pulisic, Grealish, Salah, Sterling. Is this a good midfield? Sounds like a good midfield, mate. It's quite a differential midfield. FPL Chancellor, hello Dan. I'm excited by Villa Leeds tonight. How do you see it going? The injuries could be quite damaging to Leeds, I think. But I think they're very capable of getting a draw. Fascinating setup because there's a case to be made that Villa might be one of the best defensive sides that Leeds have played. I think it's easy to forget that on Monday night, Wolves didn't have a kick in that first 15 minutes. But by the end, Leeds weren't creating anything. Really interesting one. Be interesting to see if Leeds do anything to try and deal with Grealish. That's probably the thing I'm most interested to see. Do they do anything differently? Particularly if Ayling has to play at centre-back. Do they do anything differently? It might be that they might play a three at the back if Bielsa thinks that Barkley's going to play really high. And it might even be that Barkley then goes deeper and Leeds go back to a back four. Fascinating tactically, as you all know, Dan. It's the sort of game that, yeah, I look forward to. I wouldn't say excited by it, but I'm looking forward to watching it. As Madis says, if Poch won the Champions League with Spurs, would he stay as manager? To be honest, I would have kissed his ass out the door if he won that Champions League final, mate. I wouldn't have cared what he did. Genuinely, if he'd won, I said this on the pod in the week leading up to the final, and I said that if he wins the final, he should leave because there's nothing else for him to do. You could say, oh yeah, win it again. But the chances are, as manager of Tottenham Hotspur, he's going to go down after winning the Champions League. Go and leave a legend, and we'll love you forever. So, I mean, if he'd won it, I think he should have left. And it would have been accepted. Everyone would have been upset that he left, but you'd think, fucking hell, thank you, mate. Crack on, go and manage Real Madrid or whatever you're going to do next. Patrick Lawson says, cheers. Lesser than mighty, James. Maz says, let's twist it. Either Salah and Kane both going to blank or have the same scores. Yeah, that could well happen. Ahmed says, I did Kane and Basuma in for opponents and Ings for free. Michael says, what are your thoughts on American sports? I've no real interest, mate. So anything I commented on would be wrong, other than I don't like the way they're structured pyramidally in terms of no relegation and stuff like that, which Liverpool, Manchester United owners potentially want to bring over to our leagues, which is unacceptable for us. It works over there, but that's because all the best teams in the world who play basketball in the NBA, with respect to some very good European teams, I'm sure, all the best American football teams in the world play already in America. That's why they don't need these kind of things. We do. We need people to earn the right to play in Champions Leagues, etc. We can't have this closed shop stuff. Ian Walsh says, you buy into this chat that no crowds is helping attackers. Not sure it rings through in Championship. Listen, we only had 2 goals in the last 3 Premier League games. Shit's about to calm down, is my opinion. And it's very true what you say about the Championship, because Championship has been quite low scoring. We discussed this with Stephen Toomey and AFC BNG when I did a Watford and Bournemouth clash of the correspondence with them, not this week, the week before. Greg Jacobs says, cheers James, for the response. I'm an American who became a Spurs fan right as Rose came into his peak for the club and was curious. Feel bad for him as well. And Poch, love your content. Thank you. Gavin Walsh, team looks great. Wish I had the balls to pick Bale. Stephen Martinez Jones, first time I listened to his channel. Brilliant, mate. Keep it up. Thank you, Stephen. Hit the subscribe button. I meant to say that shit, and I never do. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that crap, all that jazz that makes Suj happy. FPL Sponge says, fair answer, appreciate you're honest. No problem, my friend. That's all I can ever be, mate. Ray Gooner, cheers for everything, mate. Away for the weekend, so going to try to do extra long match a day challenge and not check anything until Arsenal game Sunday. Good luck. Hope Arsenal lose, mate. Matthew Gendre, hi James, went Suchet over Antonio for the 11th spot this week on instinct. Why do you think? I ain't got a clue, mate. Nathan says, love your detailed insight and all the content. Always look forward to listening to the pods and find pods non FPL related fascinating, considering lack of knowledge on topics being from Australia. Appreciate that, Nathan. Proboshinjo, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I don't doubt that I have. Hi, what do you think about Jews and Gypsy? Well, I think, mate, you just got muted. Stuart Bell, all right, James, a 45k ranking Sky and made 1 transfer. I'm out of it already or doing okay. Don't worry about rank, Stuart. Be absolutely fine, mate. Nice and calm. I have no idea, honestly. I'd have to listen back to the podcast to know what my rank was after 4 game weeks last year. But I suspect it was probably worse than 45,000. And I finished, 277th or something. So don't worry about it. Honestly, I think it was more than 50k. I'd have to check back. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's one of the lawyers. Can one of my loyalists go and listen back to one of the Sky podcasts from last September, early September, and see what my rank was in Sky, because I wouldn't have a clue. Sahib says, players due to rise tonight. Thanks, mate. We can all check statistics and fix for ourselves. FPL Tips, LOH says, evening, James. Hope you're well. Good luck this game week. Kane captain. Good luck to you too, my friend. Congrats, H, on hitting 15,000 followers on Twitter. I saw that. Very well done, mate. Tom Campbell says, evening, pal. Tottenham's strongest back 4. What we saying, or is it totally opposition specific? Oh, my God, TC. The strongest back 4, in my opinion, is Doherty, Alderweireld, Dyer, Reguilon. But then it's a bit struggling for pace, depending on opposition. But then I think, like, if Dyer was to be fit for Monday, Tom, then that's ideal. We don't need that pace against Burnley, mate. But I think Mourinho's decided it's Sanchez, generally speaking, over Alderweireld at the moment. Aurier was great at Man United, but awful against West Ham. So where that leaves it now, I don't know. I'm not impressed with what I've seen from Matt Doherty so far. Ray Qureshi says, hey James, any guys you'll certainly get for CMFPL? Ray, I'm genuinely honest, I haven't looked yet, mate. I honestly haven't had the time, mate. Matteo says, James, mate, on Suchet over Antonio decision, I meant, what do you think, not why? I would like to buy one. I mean, I'm a fan of both players from as FPL perspectives. You wouldn't pick Suchet over Antonio in your team. I'm not sure I quite understand the sentiment there. But crack on. Good luck. FPL tips is agreed. Non-FPL content's class. No one knows football like you both. Appreciate that, mate. Such don't know fuck all. He just shuts up and lets me talk, mate. Martin Boyle, can we have a pod on proposed Champions League change following Project Big Picture not going through? Well, basically did this for the patrons on Wednesday, Martin, and as I said, it put me in a mood. I'm not sure I want to do it again. But I'll have a think about it over the weekend, mate. Nicola Torco, thanks for everything, James. Good luck this game week. My last week was terrible, but listening to you and Suj just gets me motivated each week to grind on and do better. Good luck to everyone. Yes, good luck to everyone. We'll kind of leave there. Remember, guys, not an FPL expert. Neither Suj. He knows nothing. I've just dissed him, as you well know. So, yeah, we're all in it for the fun, right? We try and make this ride more enjoyable when you have bad weeks and stuff. Me and Suj are never going to win FPL, and probably most of our listeners are never going to win FPL either. But yeah, we're here to try and enjoy it and make weeks a bit better. That's what we're for. Close on FPL tips. Yup. But he asked the right questions, which works so well. Yes, we tend to compliment each other quite well, is the opinion of many. I will leave it there, guys. Thank you, FPL Sponge. Thanks to anybody who says cheers in the chat. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining me. Really fun. That's been the hour and quarter or so. So I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the football tonight. Find a dodgy stream. Best of luck with your teams for the weekend. Have a great weekend. And normally I'd be like, I'll see you in the morning. But I guess I won't. A weekend off for me. People's Poll will be out Sunday. Full content next week. Main review podcast, obviously, with Monday night games, will be Tuesday. It will be the Monday the following week with no Monday night games. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe. Be nice to each other. Speak soon. Ciao for now.